And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Santa's Bag. I have always bemoaned the fact that there are not many good Christmas games out there. There's very few, in fact. And here's one that's specifically made about Christmas where you're making toys for boys and girls. It's a game that's for 7 and up. It can go up to 8 players, although I'm not sure that you maybe should play with that many. It's a game where you're making toys. Well, let me show you. Here you have a wheel which is basically just used to keep track of how many presents have been made for the good little boys and girls. 10 of them will end a short game and 20 will end the normal size game. Okay, or the long game. So what you're going to do is you're going to put out, you have piles of kids and you have piles of presents. Now the kids have a ranking of how nice they are. 1 means they have this garbage attitude, like David, who needs an attitude adjustment. Or they're like Sophia here, who is wonderful and nice and sugar and spice and all that. There's also different toys, and some toys are more difficult to make than others. And then they have a number from 1 to 3 also. So you randomly put out some kids. We have 4 kids with 4 random toys. Players are also going to get a handful of random cards here that are different types of materials that you make toys with. Metal and string and rubber and wood and paint and fluff and clay. Now each toy has very specific things that it needs. For example, the stuffed bear you can see here needs cloth and 2 fluffs, or fabric and 2 fluffs, while the sailboat below it needs wood, fabric, and string. And then the one below that needs wood, metal, and string for the drums, which you should never give a boy. So anyhow, you have these different presents. So on your turn, the first thing you do is you can say, I want to make a trade. So you can say, I'm going to give metal and I want string. And anybody who's willing to make that trade with you can do so. If there's a tie, if multiple people want to do it, you just go clockwise so you can make the trade. Or you can just discard a card and draw one from the top. You're trading with the deck per se. Then, if you have the goods to make one of these toys, you can. So let's say I look at my hand and I say, hooray, I happen to have wood and paint. I can make the wooden puzzle. I'll take Ella and the wooden puzzle and put them in front of me. That's going to be 4 points for me at the end of the game. We mark that we have gotten a gift for Santa, and then we draw a new kid. Here we have Freya, and she wants a wagon. And at the end of my turn, I will draw an ingredient. So you always get one of these materials no matter what each turn. And you simply do that until you reach the number of presents, and then whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Now I should mention that the game actually comes with a list of the different materials and how many are in the deck. And I thought that was a neat thing. But let's take a look at this. First of all, love the artwork. The artwork is really well done and brings in that whole old-timey Christmas feel. There's not Nintendos and stuff here. You're getting your baby doll and your truck and things like that. But I like the art, and the components here are very nice. Everything, the different materials are very easy to differentiate and tell apart. The game is very simple. This is not a complex game. You're simply getting the things you need and building. And with more players, you're going to have the problem of, oh, I want to build that, but someone else built it on their turn, so now I need to do something else. Trading is also very simple in this game. I'm simply offering a good to someone else for a very specific other good. Now, we did play with a variant where you can make any kind of trades you want, where you could trade 2 for 1. And the game does have what's called magic, elf magic, where you can use 2 of the same good to count as 1 of anything else. And that makes life a lot easier, especially considering there is 12 fabric and 12 metal in the game and 17 wood. Well, if you get a pile of wood in your hand, you can turn 2 of that wood into stardust or 2 of that wood into plastic. So that makes it very easy to build stuff. This is a very light game, and yet I think on that level it works exceptionally well. Sure, this isn't a game that gamers are going to find any great depth into, but that's not who the intended audience for this is. This audience is for families. And this is a great game that I would give out as a gift for Christmas. Because you give this game out, people play it, they're going to enjoy it. This is what we often term as a gateway style game, a game that gets people into gaming. Because all you're doing in this game is you're collecting and trading and building little sets. And there are games that have all sorts of set building, but this one does it in a very simple and yet very effective way. Every group that I played this with, and most of those groups were kids and teenagers, loved this game because it was just so easy. They understood the theme right away. It matched the mechanisms where they were grabbing stuff and playing it and trying to get the presents. And there was always the laughter because as you turn the cards over, invariably some of the names on those cards are some of the names of people in the room. Now, I'm not sure why these naughty kids are getting such nice gifts, but that being as it is, I mean, you said, well, you get fewer points. Still, why are they getting gifts? But anyhow, this works really well. 8 might be pushing it, but I have played it with 6. And it did go well, although it can take a while, but turns go very quickly. Make a trade. Can I build? Yes or no? Draw a card. And we just go around. And because when you make a trade, anybody might have the possibility to get in on that trade, it adds a little bit of fun to the game. If you find it a little bit too simple, again, I recommend my variant where you can make all sorts of trades or just have open trading type things, and that can help it go up a little bit maybe for teenagers and such. But still, very solid, great family game, Santa's Bag. Dice Tower Judgment, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Închide ușa.
De?